Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Dover Select Board meeting for Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. First order of business is public comments. Yes, Mike.
Hi, guys. I'd like to discuss the snowmobile trails that are running through Forest Hill.
Tonight, is it on the agenda?
It's not on the agenda.
Have you talked to our economic development director about them?
Yes, I have.
Are you aware of something that should have been on the agenda, Eric?
No, I mean, I had given Brooke your contact, and when the work was going to be clear, he'd be reaching out to you.
I've been back for that 4 months and I've not heard from Brooke, and there's been no work done on the ground. And snowmobile season is in Overlook.
Okay, so they're still working in there, like I explained that when they get to the snowmobile trail that they would be contacting you, but we aren't gonna fast track the snowmobile trail.
I just wanted on the record that it's going to be dealt with this year before snowmobile season.
I've been informed by the trail builder that it's going to be dealt with before snowmobile.
Okay.
So we have a really packed agenda tonight and we will be here till late in the evening. So I'd like to ask everybody to be concise, have their thoughts together, be called upon, so we can keep this meeting going because there is a lot of material to go over this tonight. Any other public comments? I have a couple of changes to the agenda, under the library, the B item, discuss library benefits and pay. That is not going to happen tonight. Down under unfinished business, I want to move the ARPA, the police ARPA funds for the new telephone system up under the general ARPA economic development conversation. Is that okay with you, Eric? Since it's all about ARPA?
Sure.
And we're gonna have a brief executive session for personnel policy, personnel issue. So that's all I have for changes. Any other comments, Jeanette?
I just wanted to relay that the 4-hour pump test was completed on October 31st. So a week ago. The results they expect in 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully I'll have something by the next meeting to see how it went.
Great, I'm glad to hear it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Okay, we're gonna move on to the library. We are considering funding a short library tax audit for $250 to $270 an hour. To be conducted by Sullivan and Powers, who also does our audits, and they expect it will take about a day. There hasn't been an audit at the library.
So 8 hours.
They think it will take no more than a day. Does anybody have any issues auditing the books that haven't been audited in quite a few years? Does somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we pay for the short library tax audit at a rate of $250 to $270 per hour by Sullivan and Powers, with an estimated time of 8 hours.
Second. In the future, the library audit will just be included with the town of Dover's audit. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Next, we have the assessor, we have errors and omissions for Sophie Properties LLC, 161 Vermont Route 100, and Ganzi, 18 Overlook Drive. Linda. Linda Sherman.
There, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. So you all hopefully received the sheet.
Yes.
Okay, so basically similar issue that I've run into before. Sophie Properties was billed for both parcels. I gave you the original assessment and the tax amount. Just, right, so he was billed for 3.12 acres. The amount that would be refunded is $524.92. $524.92. Do you need me to say the original assessment and the new assessment for people that?
I mean, it was on the sheet that you sent us.
Right, I didn't know if you needed me to say it for the people that are listening, that are not reading this.
Sarah,
So I just wanna understand, so the tennis parcel, the RT061B.
Yeah.
That was assessed and invoiced, and then, so that it was just an overlap.
Right,
So this assessment isn't being billed to someone else, it's already been billed to someone else.
correct.
Okay, all right.
okay, and talk to us about the next one.
Oh, sure. Mr. Ganzi owns several properties up in the Peaks. The PK 012, he had purchased with Patricia, and all the other parcels were just in his name. They had been combined, and shouldn't have. So when they were separated, it did not, same kind of thing. They were double billed for the 2.15 acres in 2022 and 2023. So I'm asking for the approval for 2023. And he will, like I said, he will request an abatement, which I believe he has, for 2022.
Are there any questions about?
So it's $675.80 that would be refunded to him.
Yes,
Basically.
Sarah.
I apologize, it just, that seems like a really small amount for the properties up in the Peaks. Is it just because?
It's the difference between let's see, previous value 1.503550, the corrected value 1.472910. So I believe the tax, I had Marco go
Yep.
over this one with me.
Yeah, I guess I'm not questioning your math, I'm just kind of.
Oh, because it was figured on the difference because they had already paid both tax bills.
So it's basically only reduced his
Right.
value by $30,000.
Right. Which
Are
is
there-
not a lot.
No.
No.
Any questions? Any questions from the public? Yes, Andy.
I don't have a question, but I'm gonna sneak in a comment for the select board. If those of you who haven't answered my email regarding our abatement hearing could do so, that would help me greatly in scheduling. Thank you.
Did you get my message?
I did.
You get my message?
No,
I emailed it.
Okay.
I just thought since we were here already for a budget meeting all afternoon,
yeah,
if we could stay and just do it at say 5.
okay,
That, I don't know if that works for the parties
we'll try.
versus going at home and coming back.
I'll send out another email.
You don't come to my house for.
Okay, any other comments? Does somebody want to make a motion from the chair to sign this agreement to refund these double bill tax money?
I make a motion that the board authorizes the chair to sign the E&O changes to the 2023 grand list of property 161 Route 100 in the amount of $524.92 and parcel PK 0127 Lodge Lane in the amount of $675.80. Both are refunds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So Linda, I will sign this and give it to Jeanette.
Great, thank you.
Here you go, Jeanette. I'll leave it.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Anything else for us tonight, Linda?
No, I will
Okay.
have some stuff for the next meeting, not about E&Os, but about upcoming amendment to Bill H 480.
The appraisal.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. That brings up, is everybody gonna be here on the 21st of November, which is 2 days before Thanksgiving? Because that sounds like we're gonna have another really packed agenda that night as well. Okay. Because there's a lot of things that might happen on that evening if everybody's gonna be in attendance. So. I'm hearing yes,
Yes.
yes.
You had mentioned you were gonna be away.
Yeah, I changed it.
Anyway, okay,
Try to get
all right.
the-
So Eric, did you hear that too? Okay. All right, now under new business. Consider approval to deploy a temporary cell on wheels. So. Mr. Fredette, hi,
Good evening. How are you, Ms. Capitani?
good. We'd like to hear what the reason for this and what's involved with it on a brief level.
Understood. Yes. And thank you to Jeanette and the rest of the board here for making room for me tonight. I know it's jam packed and I know I was late to apply. Thank you very much, guys. Again, Chip Fredette here on behalf of Verizon Wireless, site acquisition in wireless for 23 years. In this current role with Verizon since 2007. I'm just going to quickly read the letter I wrote to you folks, just to get into the record, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you or the folks in the room have there. Verizon Wireless's system performance engineers have determined that the existing network serving the resort area is not poised to handle the demand of the upcoming ski season. The heavy influx of visitors, tourists brings an incredible demand on the existing system. So while that existing network may handle well the demand of everyday off-season everyday use, it has struggled in recent years to keep up with the demand of the additional load placed on it during the winter season. The overload, the overload on our current system could be considered a matter of public safety. That is not to say that without the cow, people wouldn't be able to reach 911. They would. However, not every emergency call or message is to police and fire. For instances like this, and as you may already know, folks, Verizon can deploy a temporary cell site known as a cow or a cell on wheels. Verizon's goal will be to provide that supplemental coverage to the resort area from mid-November until the end of March 24. You may have seen these units at fairs, cows, concerts, parades, other sporting events. We also deploy them as a means of emergency service for police, fire, state police, Secret Service. To that end, Verizon and Mount Snow have identified the parking area of the former pump house beside Snow Lake to be the one location that could be deemed viable for such a deployment. For a cow site to be viable, several factors must come together, and lacking any one of these will render a site unusable. First and foremost, it has to have line of sight to the intended coverage area. Second, the landowner has to be willing to lease that ground space to us. Third, we need to have reasonable access to it. Fourth, we need power readily available for the cow. And 5, we need access to fiber as well. Again, all 5 of these have to come together in order for a cow site to work. For avoidance of doubt in this case, please know that this deployment does not require any ground excavation, nor will we use a backup generator. We'll strictly be on primary power. Happy to answer questions from you folks.
Board questions? Mike?
Where exactly is the site? Is it on Snow Lake Road or is it in one of the Mount Snow parking lots? And how big of an area will it take?
It's in the parking driveway of the former pump house.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and there is a map of where it's gonna go. Brian, how is Mount Snow?
We're in favor of this because, you know, the cell, you get on a Saturday, Mount Snow, and all cell phones lock up. This could alleviate that problem for people, which would be a good thing, I think, but. You know, it's in front of the select board here, and it's up to you guys, and. Well,
Yes,
we found a really good, I feel like we found a good spot for it. Where we have power and power.
Tommy?
Just out of curiosity, it's very interesting. Does that affect the whole town or just the general area? Because I noticed that even in Eastover on winter weekends, Verizon basically doesn't work.
Chip?
Yep, good question. So what the CAL will do is the CAL will provide coverage to just the base area of the resort. It's not going to reach further than that. It's not intended to. So what'll happen is by default, because our phones, our handsets, our devices, whatever, are programmed to go to the strongest signal, the footprint that you currently enjoy will work better. So for those who are in and around the resort area, your phone would likely transmit and receive through the CAL. And the further you move away from the CAL, you'll then be covered by the site we have midway up the mountain already. So it will help the performance of the existing site by virtue of taking the load off of it, if that makes sense.
Chip, I have a question.
Please.
What's the long-term solution?
Ooh, there's the $1 million
This
question.
cow, I assume, is gonna be removed in,
Correct.
at the end of the ski season, basically?
Correct. Yeah, so I'm working with Kevin and Sarah on a potential permanent solution, because Verizon will tell you first, we've got 12 cow units and they're used nearly 365 days out of the year. And it doesn't make any sense to keep redeploying this cow year after year. So we are talking to them about doing a permanent solution. It would likely be like a building co-location, couple of antennas to pick up the load that the cow would do now. It will not likely be a ground-mounted new monopolar lattice tower. I'm sorry, and then of course the goal is to have that on air for next season, so 24-25.
Okay. Sarah,
Just maybe dump it, is there any cost to us?
is there any cost to the town?
Or not, so
For the cow, absolutely not. No.
No.
checking?
No cost, it's more of a visual. So the cow stays up pretty tall.
So you guys are okay with that?
We're okay with it, we just want to make sure that the town's okay with it.
Is it over 75 feet?
How tall is the?
Yep, good question. So the cow itself is equipped with 2 pneumatic telescoping masts. They both reach to 60 feet. We only need 50, so we'll only raise it to 50 feet.
50 feet. Any questions? Does somebody want to make a motion that the select board approves this cow?
I make a motion that the select board approves placement of a.
Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, finish and then we'll.
I make a motion that we approve the placement of the cow from Verizon Wireless on the driveway of the former pump house off Snow Lake Road.
I have a second.
Sorry.
Mike,
Yeah, I think you kind of answered it, what I had, but we sometimes have to land a helicopter there for evacuations or medical. Is that going to affect anything in one way, shape, or?
No, because we can land over at the golf course. We did like the second option.
So we,
And if we,
so
like, we
that,
generally, like, we're gonna land in the lot E.
yeah,
for copper, which is not where this thing's right, so it's not so much. You're definitely of the operation back.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, folks. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, now we have unfinished business. And we are once again going to consider the decision for the 2024 health insurance plan funding. Jeanette, did you happen to bring the wording along with you for this?
Did.
I knew you would. Has anybody got any concerns, want to make any big changes?
I think we should stick with what we, even if it's a little bit more, I think sticking with what we already have. In service to our partners.
So the motion would read, and I'm not going to do the motion in a second. Well, you want to, but it's going to say.
Right.
So put-
I move that the board funds the employee health care for the 2024-2025 fiscal year with the Blue Cross Blue Shield Standard Silver Reflective Plan. Premiums in the amount of $761.82 per month for singles, 2-person at $1,523.64 per month, and adult and children or family plan at and $1,470.31 per month. And the family plan at $2,140.71 per month with HRA funding in the amount of $9,300 for singles and $18,600 for all others, while leaving the out-of-pocket maximum at $1,500 for singles and $3,000 for all others.
Does somebody want to second that?
Second.
Does somebody want to have any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
You want this back?
You know,
You're welcome.
type it twice.
All right, now we're gonna talk about MERP. We have a cow, we have MERP. MERP is a mini grant for energy resiliency programs and how we might want to use our $4,000 MERP money for outreach or education. It's not for, it's more planning. And Jeanette sent us along the information from the Vermont Department of Buildings and General Services about the MERP grants. And did anybody read this over? Things you can do with it, community engagement, like Wilmington, I know, had an energy fair. Hiring a consultant to ensure project readiness and competitiveness when implementation of grants such as the ADA building assessment. Contracting technical assistance provider such as Vermont League of Cities and Towns or regional planning commissions for items related to MERP project, but outside of the scope of the program. Printing energy resilience materials, including posters and mailers. Expenses for community energy resilience meetings, so we can have a party and talk about energy.
Could be a retirement.
Let's see, we could create or enhance a website for social media presence related to energy resilience and other ways to promote energy resilience or establish a community energy resilience plan. So. Well, the thing about a lot of this stuff is we get the money and then we give it back to an agency so that they can create a plan. It's like just a circular money
Taking it
thing.
out of one pocket and putting it in the other.
So maybe we ought to do something organically in town. Anybody have any ideas? And we have to use this by.
Actually, it doesn't have to be used, so the end of 2024.
Yes, Scott.
I know when you said that Wilmington had that energy fair, what are some things that other towns get?
Well, they attached this whole thing about the town of Reading.
Reading had an energy fair. So,
Do you at the energy
I
fair?
did. It was a horrible, miserable, cold day, and so it was very poorly attended. It was not the time of year that one would expect it to be cold and rainy, but it was cold and rainy. And
So-
you know, do we create a pop-up booth that we can bring events around, like the concerts at the park or other events that would just have energy information and handouts for people to, you know, reach out to places like SEPCA or Efficiency Vermont.
To make people more aware of all the
Of the-
efficiency that.
Well, and the financial assistance that you can
Yes,
get for
that's-
improving your energy efficiency. So,
Not a bad idea.
That-
I was thinking maybe if we had some people who might be interested in being like a MERP subcommittee. Who might have interest in finding some good uses of it and trying to keep it here and not just hiring consultants from all the people that we get grants from, and then we end up paying them back all the money that we got the grant for.
so like we could hire an intern from the high school, recent graduate, to go to events all summer in town and
Yeah.
hand out material.
I don't know if we could do that.
We could,
Well, if we can hire. If we can pay for
Consultants.
childcare for people to attend an event, we can't pay for someone to actually run the event.
I don't know.
that sounds.
But this is nothing that we have to decide today,
no,
but everybody should start thinking, and let's get this on. Another agenda, is we get the budget settled, say later into January or something. Cause it sounds like a lot of this kind of stuff would be good to happen in the summertime. Versus in a dark building at night somewhere.
People just want
Yes,
as
Jenna.
much heat as possible.
Yeah, I mean, just the town of Reading, they planned this for about 3.5 months before they did what they did with their energy fair. But I thought it would be great to get the school involved and get the kids involved in doing something energy related. Or maybe even creating like a questionnaire like the planning commission did, and maybe get town people's thoughts on what do they want to see at an energy fair, you know, solar stuff or electric car stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Having the school involved or something, and you could have some prizes. So you can get it going to the kids.
I think our Girl Scout leader would be really good.
She's right. No. So anyway, I don't think we have to do anything tonight, but think about it, and everybody, you know, everybody gets emailed this stuff and. But a little
Yeah.
conversation, put your brain to it and see what we can spend our $4,000 on.
Yeah, and if any of the public has ideas.
Yes.
Shoot them over to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing it on our radar.
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna have a discussion on ARPA funding, including the proposal to get a new telephone system at the police department that did not come up at the ARPA meeting, but Jim McDivitt suggested it based on some of the recent issues at the police department. So I'd like to hear about this particular project, potential use of the money, since we've heard about a lot of the other uses at the ARPA meeting. So who wants to talk about this, Jim? But why did you bring this to the town as something we need to potentially do?
Well, that system was put in '99, I believe. And long beyond its life expectancy. It's not like you were in the police department without something being 100% reliable, or as close as you can get.
So, Mike, did you get this? Or Randy, did you get this quote?
I have 4 different quotes now. Just so you're aware, but currently we're running our voicemail system off of a separate little 2-line phone. Because the last time our system crashed, the voicemail chain disappeared, the program didn't work, so it's. As we fear, getting worse, not better. But yeah, I have 4 different quotes. 2 of them are for voice over internet, which nobody seems terribly interested in moving towards unless you guys want to discuss that. The other 2 are for digital phone systems. I got you guys one of those quotes already.
That's the first choice one you made.
That's the first choice one, which has gone down by about $200 just because there's something in that quote that you have that we don't need.
Okay,
So just over $6,000 to overhaul the entire system. I have another quote from another company for the exact same hardware, exact same warranties, 1-year tech support. The price for the hardware is about a $10 difference. The big difference is that the second company, which is Mountain Telecom out of Manchester, Vermont, is not charging us labor to do the install. So it's their total quote for, again, the exact same hardware is $4,734.
Sarah,
Was the reason they didn't charge labor because it was for police department or municipality, or?
I didn't really get a good answer on that when I asked. I know there's quite a markup.
you have it, you have the quote in writing?
Yes, I have a quote right here. I actually have copies if you guys want them.
You said that was Mountain.
Telecom. Okay, and are there timelines for getting these installed?
Both of them are about 2 to 3 weeks out. And most of that is, both companies pretty much said they drop everything to get it installed. It's a matter of when they can get the products from their suppliers.
And what's your thoughts on it? Should we do this?
I think we need to do it. I think we need a new system, and this digital phone system seems like the best option to me after speaking with Jim extensively, and he's doing a little bit of research. Yes, I think this is the best system out there for us and our needs.
Okay. All right. So that's another option for us to expend money. At this point, we've spent about $27,000 for the, right, for the bidding out of the new Tahoe police
Right.
cruiser.
Yeah, it was like 27 and change.
Yes, and we have 319,000 and change.
I'm not a fan of doing things piecemeal, but I think this is important enough. We should just get it done.
Okay, so do we
I make a
want to
motion.
do these individually?
We don't have to, but we're gonna, if anything gets held up, I don't want this to be it.
Okay, then that's fine. We did the cruiser individually.
So the other thing, you're talking about doing things individually or trying to group them together. Later on, I'm supposed to have a brief update on our body worn cameras. They're here, they're installed, everybody loves them, everything's working right, cloud's working right. With that said, the deal always was that after the install and everything was working, it was net 30 for the first year. So I know there was discussion on that first year going.
I think we pretty much at the ARPA meeting had agreed that the first year, since it's not in your budget, that was another appropriate use of ARPA money.
Right.
Did everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Do
Okay,
we need to? Okay.
so. And then we had Tabby, did you get us some more information about the wireless? After the ARPA meeting?
I've been running, basically scanning reports on that. I can deliver those to you. I can email those out to you. To just track how many and what amount of usage local people have been hitting in the parking lot. And we also have usage for our meetings as well.
Okay. And then the big one is reimbursement to the town for the costs of PFAS testing at the common and at the town garage, the old landfill site. And those will be more ongoing costs, so they're not over yet.
What is our PFAS expenses?
Quick question. Yes,
Did we, I can't remember, I think Joe brought up if we spent money on this PFAS stuff now, and there happened to be some money available for it later, would that kind of mean that?
yeah, we talked about that at the meeting.
And was there any, would you come to any?
They
for that?
thought,
Because,
Wyndham Regional thought there probably would not be a problem with that we could still go after the grant money. But it was, of course, this stuff changes all
I
the
know.
time.
I know.
Yes, Eric.
The other thought was that, again, there's provisions in there that allow you to use ARPA funds as matching funds to federal and state grants. So I can see, in my head, that would tell me that this would not preclude us from getting funds later on because we use these funds for, I mean, we're paying for work that's already been done, right? So it's, whether it's ARPA money or not, it should not preclude us from getting further grants, should they become available.
So as of the ARPA meeting, now we've just spent more money because we just did the test, but we had $108,547.85 worth of PFAS and well-related expenses at the brick building and the Dover Town Hall. And another $32,286.85 at the landfill town garage site. So those numbers altogether equate to about $140,000 as of the meeting 2 weeks ago, basically, or a week ago.
And Mike, what was the quote for the phone system from Mountain?
$4,734
And 6 cents.
and 6 cents.
Thank you. Okay, and then and I apologize.
And then 1 year of the body cameras, which is $7,920. And that still leaves us money that doesn't have to be expended till the end of 2024, or at least allocated till the end of 2024. That can continue to fund our very expensive water issues at the town common and other things that might come up. But this is a good chunk of it.
153,000.
So it leaves us about 140,000 left.
So can I make a motion?
Mm-hmm.
So I make a motion that we apply ARPA funds to the expenses related to PFAS at the town common in the amount of $108,547.85 to date. Expenses for PFAS at the landfill of $32,286.85. Expenses for year one of the body camera replacement and cloud storage at $7,920. And the cost of replacing or upgrading the PD phone system from Mountain Telecom in the amount of $4,734.06 for a total of $153,488.76.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All right. All right, that's the end of the, let's see, updating the town alarm ordinance from the police department, because we kind of now moved to the police department.
Well, that's unfinished.
Huh?
That finished the unfinished.
Yeah. All right, Mike or Randy, you guys want to talk to us briefly about the fire alarm ordinance?
Randy, so. I've got time to look at the old alarm ordinance, but I believe it's from 2009. It's the most up to date one.
Yeah,
But long-
18th of November, 2008. Mm-hmm.
I have one unsigned dated 2000.
Okay.
So it's just kind of unwieldy and not working, and nobody's been following up with it for a couple of years, so everything's just kind of falling to the side. So we're looking to update the ordinance with the changes that I sent along. But just a little background, so that we're aware of, there's been 164 alarms registered at different addresses throughout town over the years. Currently, there are 12 that are properly registered. So it's under 10% of the known alarms in town are currently registered. Some of those may have dropped off because people are using, ring cameras and stuff like that. But we're sure there's more than 12 out there, because we get called to them. And nothing's being done to enforce this ordinance when we get called to false alarms. So we're just trying to make it a bit more streamlined so that we can do that.
Yes, Joe.
So you're saying there's 164 alarm systems that you know out there?
There have been some, at least that many have been registered at different addresses in the town of Dover.
Same.
Yeah. So. Is there any way for us to find out how many alarm systems are out there?
So
Like calling like Swan Electric that has a lot of that alarm system so that we can get a database of that all or
I'll
not?
get from that, but we do have.
Trying to be helpful.
I sent along a letter that Sue's kind of taken this on. She used to do it at her old position and wants to streamline it so that we can, make it work better here. She drafted the letter to homeowners that we would like to send out about alarms and how to properly register them. And then how to find the actual registration that she worked on too. There's a 2-page registration form. Our goal is to send that out to homeowners. If they've got an alarm, they can use the registration form and fill it out, and we'll move on with getting them registered and enforcing, hopefully, a new ordinance with a new schedule of fines.
So the ordinance proposed is a $25 fee to register, correct?
Yearly.
Yearly.
Before it was biannually, so.
Okay.
Doing it yearly, we think just keeps the information a little bit closer to us. When people are selling houses, as quickly as they are.
Questions?
I have lots of questions to this, but
Did you read this stuff, Joe?
I do not have a.
There's a lot of it.
Just the cover letter of.
Yes, Dan.
To me, it seemed like the history of the world when I read the 2008 one. And being probably the most frequent misuser of alarms, doing that. People at the Historical Society forget what the alarm numbers are, leave the doors open and so forth. I've been called many times. However, I never knew that there was going to be a registration or a fee, which sounds like a good idea.
Any other comments? So, yeah,
Well, I'm just wondering, I mean, I just know what Wilmington. Right now, if you go to a false alarm, do you charge the homeowners for that?
Currently, we don't do anything.
You don't do anything.
I mean, we go to the alarms obviously, but there's no registration that's in place. So,
Well, I just know on the Wilmington side, if you go to a false alarm, they charge
yes,
the
so
association, so we're not doing any of that.
we are not currently doing that. We would like to
Well, that's something.
re-implement that.
and you are gonna give like them, I read one or,
So the way that it's currently worded is there's 2 false alarms before you get charged. We want to change it to you get charged on the second false alarm, which
Yes.
was way lowering the fees. Because they were very unwieldy. So we're looking to do $75 for the first, $100 for the third and subsequent false alarms, or sorry, 75 for the second false alarm. 100 for third and subsequent, and then there's a waiver fee of $50 for the $75 fine and 75 for the $100 fine. That's just the way the state of Vermont works and the way that we write these. It's like a traffic ticket that we've done, right?
yeah.
So my experience at the Historical Society, if I get a call from the alarm company, I tell them it's okay. You're notified then?
If the alarm company is doing what they're supposed to, we're notified, yes.
You're
To cancel
notified.
it.
So
And that would
then
not be considered a false alarm.
that would not be considered false alarm. Well, one time we had a fire alarm that went off. And I called them and told them that there was no fire. Mickey's only 2 doors away. However, somebody from the fire department had to come and certify that. Is that involved with you as well? No.
We're talking about police for
Gotcha.
alarms.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't wanna ask the question, how many of these do you go to a year? that are
I
false?
did not run those numbers, but it's,
Substantial.
obviously, there's a lot more than we have.
Right.
And so this is an ordinance, so it's gonna need to be
Warned.
warned and, I have that, it's gonna be warned and I will not take into. Won't kick in for, is it 45 days, Jeanette?
I think so.
Yes, so after it's warned, yes,
So our goal is to get it up and running for next fiscal year. One of the changes we're making is that it used to be. That it would be a year biannually on November 1st, which nobody knows why that was the date, so we're looking to change it to. Our fiscal year,
Yeah.
so we're,
for July 1st.
yeah, there's no rush on any of that part,
Okay.
because that's when we want to implement it, so. A couple months to send out these letters and registration forms, and hopefully we get some response.
Okay,
So
yes, Joe.
moving forward, if people don't register and you go to calls, can you charge for a false alarm?
That is in here.
With this new, okay,
Yes,
that's
Mhm.
gonna make people sign up, I mean,
correct, that's the goal.
so.
Sarah,
Are the fines heftier if they haven't registered?
It's gonna be the same, but it'll be on the first false alarm,
Yeah, thanks.
if it's unregistered.
okay, Scott,
I just appreciate that, you're looking into this and that we're doing something
Yes.
about this. And, you know, to mention whoever was on.
It was
that-
a
that-
lot of,
that-
a lot of Sue are new hire, so.
thanks.
Good.
All right, so does somebody wanna make a motion that we adopt the changes to the Dover burglar alarm ordinance? Schedule of fees and fines and the alarm registration?
Make a motion.
Joe just motioned that,
1 second.
and this gives you a good amount of time to also get people educated.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, do we need to have the brief update on the body cameras?
It was just about they're working, and please give us ARPA. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Sorry, done.
Thank you. Now we're moving on to economic development. Eric,
May I briefly respond to the question in public comment, because I have an answer?
okay,
Okay. Just heard from Brooke, I was actually making some things with Adam to start working on this week. He acknowledged that he had not spoken to you, but absolutely planned on doing so. Mike, as you and I discussed, the plan was not to move the trail in any way, but to improve the drainage along the trail. As well as fix some of the lower spots. So it says my plan is to improve the drainage in a few areas and have crushed stone to build up the ramp above the middle work road, which was that spot where I think there was some pallets and there were some issues there. They did also get in there and clear and cut the fallen trees and underbrush from this week. So you will absolutely be in touch with you. I have a phone call scheduled with him tomorrow morning, and I wanted him to contact you prior to any of the major work. Is that an acceptable answer to your question?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
great. Good job, Eric.
Yep.
All right, the SOBTA maintenance in the town forest.
Okay, so you're president of SOVTA at this point, correct? Correct, awesome. So,
Congratulations.
President of SOVTA, Ami, reached out to us. There was an opening in their schedule to get their executive director, Steve, out in the woods up at the town forest to take care of some of the maintenance that's going to be required for our backcountry ski zones up there. So I presented you with the email that Tommy sent to us, kind of outlining what it is they're going to do. They're proposing 40 hours of work up there to clear the skin tracks, the fallen trees and debris. For 40 hours for a total of $1,000, which works out to about $25 an hour. This is something that we know needs to be done. It's something that's done each year, and we appreciate them finding time in their schedule to do it. So I would like to propose that we pay SOVTA for that maintenance on those backcountry skiing zones for the 40 hours, $1,000. All I would ask is that, when the work is completed, a brief report on what was done up there, just so we have it for our records, but I would absolutely recommend that we pay to have that maintenance statement.
How do you do? Don't have anything?
Here for any questions, like
Okay.
what is a skin track, that type of thing, so I can answer those. Give you a little better idea of kind of what's done.
Anybody have any questions about that?
Spin trucks where you key up, right?
Those are the paths cleared that allow mobility to the zones. So obviously, when you're going through the forest, every year there's a ton of downfall on those, yeah.
Anybody have any comments about this? Sarah?
I would just ask that when, as the work's being completed, if he could record some pictures of like a few before and afters.
Absolutely.
So we can kind of see what I'm sure it's all needed, but it'd be really helpful for us to have a record of
Sure. So
what that
we
looks
can
like.
do is the process is first go out and GPS all blowdowns. And then go through the zones, that's where people actually ski down. Any, Widowmaker hangers and then go through and then satisfy the clearing of all those, so we can provide, the GPS maps and everything to give you a good idea of what needed to be done and then what was satisfactorily done.
Yeah, just an idea. We don't expect you to
We
do
don't-
it for
we don't-
everything
yeah,
that's
right.
clear,
Every
but
single-
there may be some
Well, that's what we
ones
do.
that are
That's what
worse
we've
than
done
others.
every year as well, so it's just, that's our standard
Perfect.
operation.
Perfect.
Some of the more spectacular ones.
Scott?
I was just gonna say, I think we got that report that had everything that was like kind of dotted in what you were doing before last year. Just appreciate you guys finding time for it this year. So it's great, thank you.
Eric?
As a side note, this would end up coming out of our trails maintenance budget. As opposed to implementation. Please know that the maintenance budget is going to look very overspent this year because we bought a bridge we weren't expecting to replace.
Okay. Which looks lovely, by the way. Does someone make a motion that we expend $1,000 for Sophie to do the work in the town forest with the money coming from the trails maintenance fund?
I make a motion that we authorize the expenditure of $1,000 from the Trails Maintenance Fund for Sophie to perform cleanup at the Dovertown Forest before this winter season.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're moving on to parking lot maintenance for Horace Hill. Eric?
Okay, so was contacted by Richard Kaplan, who's the property owner at 171, with the parking lot that we use mainly for our projects on Forest Hill. They're looking to do some work to beef up that parking lot and make it more resilient to weather and water. They're proposing, I sent you guys the quote, which comes from Reed Construction, who was the general contractor on the project, who would be overseeing Clinton doing the work. For a total of $5,800 to do the excavation, get the equipment there, 32 yards of the 6-inch road builder material and 80 yards of the recycled blacktop millings to coat that parking lot. I am recommending, Rich was looking for some assistance with this as he agreed to let us use the parking lot. So I'm proposing that we help in the form of $2,000 towards the $5,800 total. To maintain the parking lot. Please bear in mind, this does not include what we will eventually be talking about for the plowing for both lots that we had talked about last year. From an email to you guys, this was explained more as a one-off expense as opposed to the plowing, which would be a year. I just think, given Rich's generosity to let us use the lot as much as he has, especially with staging of materials and things for our project on Horace Hill throughout this summer. I think that this is a relationship that we need to, a partnership that we need to be a part of helping out of it. So that's, I think the $2,000 is a reasonable amount to be offering Rich in assistance with this portion of the project. And I'd like to see him improve it.
I know that when we created the park, then we had a parking problem, and we did also put money into the parking lot across the street that is used heavily for concerts and for use of the park. So this is not the first time we've done something like this to help maintain access, and so I don't have a problem with it.
Good idea.
Anybody else? Yes, Andy.
I'd just like to speak up and be heard that, I'm very in favor of this. Forest Hill is awesome. I wrote it the other day. When word gets out that it's that good, we're gonna need a place to park. It's awesome, really nice.
So what line item is this gonna come out of?
Again, would probably be maintenance. It's,
Yeah, just so that we
Yeah.
target the right place.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I make a motion that we authorize an expenditure of $2,000 towards repairs to the parking lots used for Horace Hill, owned by Rich at 171-100, owned by Rich Kaplan, with the money to come from the trails maintenance budget.
Second,
all in favor? Aye.
I just said another question, are we helping out with snow removal again?
We're going,
we will be discussing that. He hadn't received updated quotes. I guess plowing quotes are a little behind this year, even though we already had our first snow. But if we get those quotes, I'll be back in front of you. Unless the price has gone through the roof compared to last year. Last year we paid $1,100, and that covered both lots. So I would imagine somewhere in that ballpark, but that'll be back in front of you guys as soon as we have those numbers.
okay. Thank you. Next, short-term rentals, next steps.
So what I'd like to see at this point, based on the conversations that we have had at the public meeting, is just an approval from you guys to start taking a deeper dive into what's available to us. Hard costs on registration systems, ordinance implementation, and everything in those things. Just so that we can get things lined up, we may define that decision at some point on if and when we will move forward with this. The feedback from our public meeting and from the proposals that, the recommendations that we made has been very positive. I think there's a general understanding among the SCR owners that, something needs to be done, prior to something more severe being done. So I would just like to have your approval to move forward with getting those hard numbers together. If anyone wants to be a part of, hearing from those companies and what it is they have to offer, or any specific information you're looking for from those companies, be sure to let me know. But just your approval to move forward with that piece would be great. We can get this thing rolling.
Sarah?
I would just ask that they provide some references for similar towns.
Anybody have any other?
I agree.
I think we need to move.
Yeah.
And we need to have this put together. And I think that there's some anxiousness within the communities, and so we need to do, obviously, I was hoping we could partner with Wilmington. It would save us, but that's not gonna happen at this point, so we need to move on our own and do what we're gonna do.
Have we ever done a partnership with anything?
We have a by-town meeting. They have a committee, and we do things with Wilmington,
Marketing, housing,
yes.
signage.
Tomorrow's the by-town housing committee meeting.
Ad hoc, feel free to join.
There's meetings galore if you want to attend.
No,
You can just fill your calendar.
So, yes, shall Eric move ahead? Everybody say yes, move ahead.
Say yes.
Yes, say yes.
Thank you.
And the first quarter update.
Yeah, so I won't, leave this, you guys have it sitting in front of you, everyone wants to see it, I'm happy to provide it, Town received $198,274.52 and 1% tax revenue on August 7th for the period of May 6th through August 1st. The same payment last year was $286,837.22, which is a 31% decrease this year, but that was also the second largest payment we have received since the beginning of time in 1% money, and there's no explanation from the state as to what that is.
Well, Mount Snow didn't buy some chairlifts like this summer.
You paid.
I know that has something to do that. Yeah.
They're not a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
But based on the year that I had provided you guys previously, it was all color coded and pretty.
Yeah.
We're still trending up over 2019 numbers, which was our last pre-COVID, normal year. So we're happy with that progress. DTAP, 5 applications went through. We are working with a few businesses who are trying to transition at this point, so. Between that around town with some of the businesses changing hands. By town marketing did the update. We'll be coming to you because you're all going to be here 2 days before Thanksgiving. We will be presenting our budget for next year on that. We are also in discussions on a cohesive signage plan for the valley, which has been discussed in our bi-monthly town meeting, Joe. Do it applications, that's all in there. Approved fund for wine and harvest. And then close out grants for food during fireworks. Last concert at 8/27, actually only 3 cancellations through the summer, which is pretty surprising considering it was the last one we've seen for a long time. Housing, STR committee presented to you guys, and we've been moving that forward. And then trails, we did the RFP for the bridge, which went out, is already completed. And then Horace, just a brief update on Horace Hill that they're still in the process. The mountain bike trails are scheduled to be completed. It was either the middle of last week or the beginning of this week, so those are just about done. The hiking trail company is still in there doing dirt work while they can still do dirt work, and then they'll be moving on to the boardwalk that goes through the bottom section there as soon as they're done with their dirt work, and this all is moving along in there as well. And then, as I said, the snowmobile trail is scheduled for this week, and they'll be reaching out to the stump jumpers to talk about what they're going to be doing there.
And the weather looks pretty good for this coming week too.
It does.
The
Financials are all in
next week.
Any questions on any of that for me?
Nope. All right, wow, Jeanette, you over budgeted our time, oh my goodness. So we're at the consent agenda point.
No more talk.
So we have the minutes of October 17th, which had everybody here. We had the minutes of October 19th.
That was the short-term rental meeting.
Yeah, the 19th. Well, you was at the short-term rental.
Dan was nice.
I zoomed.
I was doing it.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
It's the 24th that Dan was not at the ARPA meeting.
So I make a motion that we approve the minutes of October 17th and 19th.
Second.
Any concerns, questions, corrections? All in favor? Aye.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of October 24th.
Second.
Say second.
I already said second.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I thought you were asking for a second. I apologize.
Any
Second.
Any concern, corrections? All in favor? Aye. Stan abstains. All right, we're gonna have thank you letters here from
approval warrants of October
sorry.
28th.
I always skip that.
You usually don't, actually, you're pretty good. Make a motion to approve the warrants of October 28th for $111,218.63.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we're gonna have FYIs. So I was so excited about the thank you letters from Sevka for their $1,400 town appropriation.
Yeah.
And the other one is from the Gathering Place for their $3,000 town appropriation. So that was nice that they sent thank yous. They don't want it for us to forget about them. Plan Commission meets November 13th at 6:30 p.m. Trails and Rec meets November 14th at 6:30 p.m. Budget meeting with department heads November 29th at 1 p.m. And there is also going to be on the 29th a Board of Abatement meeting. So not sure what time of day that is. I suggest, as I said, I suggested it just go at 5 o'clock before it's done.
Don't even stop.
Yeah, just have a marathon.
I will not be here.
So you won't be here for department head budgets.
I will be flying back from Nashville.
All right, well, we'll have minutes,
Beautiful.
kind of,
Can't wait.
and it's not the same, so.
Oh, it won't be the same without me there.
That's what we're saying.
So, and then this gonna, so anyway, any liaison reports?
We're moving forward with some plans for the police department.
Yes.
And fire.
For, So plans are being laid for the retirement event for the police department and the highway employee. Okay, and we're gonna have a brief executive session for a personnel, hearing.
Right, motion to adjourn 7:35.
So
A motion to go into executive session at 7:35.
And Jeanette's gonna stay with us. Thank you all for coming.